Hi, Ali. My name is Ellen, and I'll be correcting this essay set for you today. Let's take a look at what you wrote here. We've got the English and Homestay letter. Dear Mr. Clare, I am Alex George, a tourist guide from Bali, Malaysia. I had requested you to homestay at your residence during my visit to the UK. As mentioned earlier, I have been invited to an English and Homestay program. Okay. Um, Now, this is a formal letter, all right? And there are certain things that we do when writing a formal letter. The first thing that we typically do is we state the reason why we're writing, okay? And it could be something like this. I am writing to thank you for allowing me to stay with you during the English and Homestay program. Okay, that would be nice. Or I am writing to introduce myself as I have been paired with your family for the English and Homestay program. Okay, something like that, where you're basically telling them why you're writing them. And then you could go into the introduction. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then I saw some I guess from the second sentence, there was in the second sentence there were some issues with your grammar. So let's look at that. You said I am Alex George, a tourist guide from Bali, Malaysia. This is awkward here. Not I had requested you to homestay. That's not an expression we would use. You could say, I had requested a homestay during my visit in the UK. So maybe something like that, but then still it doesn't state the connection to this person here, Mr. Clare. So you need to rephrase it again. I would suggest doing what I said before. So starting with, Dear Mr. Clare, I'm writing to thank you for allowing me to stay with your family during the English and Homestay program. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Alex George, a tourist guide from Bali, Malaysia. Um, I am 24 years old and have never been to the UK before. All right, something like that. That's an introduction. Okay, so let's see what you wrote in the next paragraph. Let me explain in more detail. The English and Homestay program is basically a cultural program where famous tourist guides from around the globe shall have conferences and meet up representing their home country. Although I have researched on the internet about the UK, but I would like you to guide me before I start packing my bags. Could you please let me know what is the weather for the next few weeks in the UK? I shall be mainly commuting using the public transport. So, kindly let me know the average fare per day, as well as about where can I buy some antiques and souvenirs for my families. It would be a great help. Okay, so one thing you've done here that I like is you've used some nice formal language. Okay, you've used a lot of modal verbs like could and where else did I see one? I thought, I would like. Um, so that was good. That was fine. But still, there are some things I want to do. First of all, I don't really think you need to explain to the person what the English and Homestay program is. For me, this is not necessary. If the person has been selected to be your host family, then they know what the program is. So this for me felt really unnecessary. Um, so I would have gotten rid of this whole section here, and instead I would have said, excuse me, prior to my departure for the UK, I do have some questions that I would like you to answer if you don't mind. So that would be fine, okay? Or prior to my departure for the UK, I would like to ask you some questions. Done, okay? And then you can talk about them. Now, a little bit of grammar. You do not put although and but in the same sentence. It's either one or the other. It cannot be both because they both do the same thing. So choose which one you want. Okay? Let's see. But I would like you to guide me before I start packing my bags. Fine. Could you please let me know what the weather for the next few weeks in the UK will be? All right, make sure you phrase this correctly. And this is a question. It's an actual question, so it needs a question mark. Okay. And then here, this was strange for me. Another thing I want you to do is I want you to leave a space between your sentences. You've got one here, but there's not one here and here. So let's talk about this. This should have been all right, I would have made this one sentence. So in other words, it should have been, I shall be mainly commuting using public transport. So kindly let me know the average fare per day. Full stop. Okay, so put these into one sentence, and then this could be on its own. Additionally, I would like to know where I can buy some antiques as souvenirs for my family, and then leave a space. It would be a great help. Okay, so those are some changes that I would make in terms of grammar. I shall be arriving on the 1st of February at 12:30. My stay will be for about 2 weeks. Okay, I think it's one more thing you're supposed to say here. All right, your scheduled time and arrival. All right, I guess it's okay. Maybe you could have just said something else about that, like how are you going to get to their house? Great, so that's when you arrive in the UK, but maybe something about please advise me as to what the best mode of transport to your home is, or I plan to hire a taxi to take me to your home, something. Okay. Looking forward to having a wonderful stay at your place. That's fine. And then sincerely is also fine. Usually we say yours sincerely, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay. So you've got the right general idea, but again, there were some things that I wanted you to do a little differently in terms of how to organize a formal letter and also with some of that grammar. Okay. So a good effort, and it's just got some room for improvement. I don't know the score you need, but assuming you need a 7 and higher, I would say that it needs a little work. Okay. So let's take a look at international marketing. The world of today is a global village. International marketing at times looks like it's getting in the way of a country in discussion, but it is a wonderful way of learning different languages, traditions, and exchanging our views. This essay shall discuss both sides and explain how important it is to be open for international marketing. Okay, mostly it's fine. I didn't really like this expression here. It looks like it's getting in the way of a country in discussion. I think you're trying to say here that it's an invasive, intrusive, but this is not a particularly clear rephrasing of that. So I would have liked something that's clearer. So international marketing at times seems like it's imposing new ideas and traditions onto a country. Okay, something like that maybe you could have said. All right, let's keep going. And then I also would have said here, it's a wonderful way to learn, not a wonderful way of learning. All right, let's keep going. Some people think that when their country allows foreign goods to be displaced in their market, it can be a threat to their business. This is because people get attracted to famous brands and ignore the things that have been produced in their own country. For instance, Adidas shoes and footwear are highly popular among the people of all ages, and when it promotes it in the local market, it increases the competition for locally produced goods. As such, this can result in low profits for the homemade brands. Okay, let's talk about this. This is about international marketing, and it can be very tempting, and it usually is for a lot of people writing this, to talk about international trade. And that's what you've done here. You've talked about international trade, but not international marketing, which is something rather different. Um, International marketing does fall under the international trade umbrella, but they're absolutely not the same thing. So maybe you want to look up what international marketing is so you can kind of familiarize yourself with it. And maybe that would give you a couple of ideas about how you could have done this paragraph. Okay, but this is really about international trade. All right, let's talk about what other things needed excuse me, a little work here. It's because people get attracted to famous brands. Okay, fine. I wouldn't say highly popular. I would just say maybe very popular, better among people of all ages. You don't need the. This was awkward. And when they are promoted. Why? Because you're talking about Adidas shoes and footwear, multiple things, but it's something that received. So, and when they are promoted in the local market, it increases the competition for local econ. Okay? So, as such, comma. All right, and then what happens? Great. So, low profits. Why is this an invasion and an intrusion? You could say, just add an extra statement. Say that this creates resentment for the local population who is trying to market their own goods. All right? Because remember, the idea here is invasive and intrusive. Um, but yeah, again, more importantly for me is that you were talking about trade, but you should have been talking about marketing. Let's take a look at the next paragraph. Let's see. On the other hand, in today's world, it is extremely indispensable for raising a country's economy and putting it up on a global stage. Okay, now you got to be careful here. You use it in this paragraph. It's a brand new paragraph. So that it could refer to just about anything. It could refer to any of those nouns in that previous paragraph. It's just not clear. So when you're starting a paragraph, avoid the temptation to use a pronoun like it. Instead, just, rephrase, say it again. It's okay. On the other hand, in today's world, international marketing is extremely indispensable. Now, let's talk about this. There's something called gradable adjectives. Some are gradable, some are non-gradable. This is non-gradable. So if something is indispensable, it either is indispensable or it is not, which means it cannot be graded, which means you cannot put words like extremely, very, quite. You can't put those in front of the word. All right, like think about this, the word frozen. Something is either frozen or it's not frozen. So you can't say that something is somewhat frozen or extremely frozen. Okay. Um, so these are excuse me, I'm sorry. As you can tell, I'm getting over a pretty rough cold. So forgive me for the coughing. I know it's annoying. Um, so right, you can't use extremely in front of a word like this. Let's keep going. So international marketing is indispensable. No comma here. And not for raising, maybe it's indispensable in this. It's indispensable. Let's see. Let me try it again. There's something about this for that feels weird to me. In today's world, international marketing is indispensable. Yeah, I want to say in raising a country's economy. You don't raise an economy either, actually. You improve, you boost a country's economy. In raising countries or in boosting a country's economy and putting it on the global stage. Okay? So when a country's open international what? When a country's international marketing is, I don't understand this. I don't understand the open here. It's very confusing to me. So when a country, something, okay, maybe it's the apostrophe. That's what's wrong here. So when a country opens, how about itself to international marketing, it is opening its doors for various sectors like education, travel, and tourism. For example, if an enterprise from the UK, no comma, markets its good in another country, then before doing that, it needs to know what the interests and the tastes of the local people in that country, to know the interests and tastes of the local people in that country, learn about the local culture, the language being spoken, top marketplaces and tourist spots, etc. All this shall in turn work in the favor of boosting a country's economy. Okay, here I felt like you were more on topic. You were definitely talking about marketing, so I feel good about that. But who is actually benefiting here? Are you saying that the country is benefiting from. This is what I don't understand. Do you know what I mean? So I don't understand who is benefiting here. You talk about a UK company marketing its UK products. Let's say, I don't know, let's pick a country. Let's pick the country Pakistan. So if a company from the UK markets its goods in Pakistan, then it needs to know the local tastes of the people in Pakistan, the culture, etc., etc. So now, why does this boost the country's economy? That's not clear to me. Do you understand? So, a company from the UK, I don't know, let's say Cadbury chocolate, if it's marketing its products in Pakistan, why does this boost? You said a country. Who? Which country? Pakistan? The UK? And why? So this is unclear. You haven't developed it enough in order for there not to be any questions. When you develop something fully, it means that there are no questions from the examiner like who, why, what do you mean? Okay? All right, let's see. To conclude with international no, to conclude, no with, get rid of it. To conclude, comma, international marketing should not be seen as a threat. Instead, it needs to be welcomed more frequently than earlier as it plays a major role in uplifting a country's image all around the world. All right, do you understand this more frequently than earlier? That's that's not really clear. Yeah, so I would have used different words here. It needs to be welcomed more warmly. It needs to be welcomed. How is this? Just it needs to be welcomed as it plays a major role in um, boosting a country's image around the world. Something like that, I think, would have been better. All right, so some wrong word choices, some problems. Obviously, we talked about how this was not on topic. This was about trade and not marketing. Here, I felt like you were talking about marketing, certainly, but there were still some issues where I wasn't really sure what you were talking about. It was a little unclear, and I thought it needed a little development. So, what I'm seeing, Ali, is an essay that has some good components to it. Like I can definitely tell that you've taken IELTS before, that you've done preparation, but it's still not at a level that's going to get you into one of those higher band scores. So if you've enjoyed this feedback, I invite you to continue working with us. You'll see links in the email accompanying this video that will show you different ways that we can work together. So see if any of those ways work for you, whether it's essay correction packages or whether it's the full online course. I think all of this could be really good opportunities. So take a look and hopefully we'll be able to work together in the future. Good luck to you.